Hey y'all, I came on here to tell my story of how I had a baby and how I told my mom. Um, well, it's really a long story, but here's how it happened. So, I can remember I wanted to tell my mom. I wanted to tell her so bad, and I had dreams, and I was like, I need to go tell my mom that I'm pregnant. I need to go tell her right now, because if she find out, it's gonna be. So I had a bad dream one night, and I woke up and I was sweating. I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'm finna go tell my mom, but I wasn't at home. I was at my cousin's house. So I went to my cousin's house for a Christmas thing or whatever. So when I got home the next day, I couldn't even look my mom in her eyes. I couldn't even tell her at all. So I walked to my room, and like I would always be in there with her in her room. So I walked to my room because I couldn't look at her eyes and just say, Mama, I'm pregnant. But nah. So I walked to my room, and I was telling myself, oh, how I'm finna tell her. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna just go in there. I'm gonna tell her after Mother's Day because I didn't want to ruin her Mother's Day. So I went and I bought a lot of stuff for Mother's Day for my mom. And when I got back from the store, I made her little Mother's Day thing or whatever I was setting up for her. And then that same night, I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell my mama tomorrow. So the next day, I woke up and I was like, and I got all these text messages on my phone, and I was like, why is everybody texting me? So it was the people from my job, because everybody at my job knew that I was pregnant. But that was because I took the pregnancy test at my job. Somebody went and got the test for me, and then they told me to take it. And I went and I took it at my job. So I came out the bathroom and I was crying, y'all. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with a baby. I'm 18 years old and I haven't even fully lived my life yet. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this test. So I took the test, came out the bathroom. I was like, y'all, it's positive. So I ran to the back of the store and I ran back there with the ladder and everything, and I was just throwing stuff. So I'm like, okay. Then I started crying. I know, I'm like, can't do it. So I went home after work that day, and here's when I was finna tell my mom. I was finna tell her, Mom, I'm pregnant. I was finna slide the test under the door, and then I was gonna wait for her to pick it up, and then look at her and say, Mom, I'm pregnant. But my boss ended up telling her,
You know how I feel. Why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know I'm not happy. You know I'm trying to see if it'll work out here, and I know that it's not.
Before I could tell her, my boss had called her earlier that morning, and he was like, I don't want to get in y'all business or nothing. And he was just saying he had to tell my mama that I was pregnant. It wasn't his business to tell, but you know, it's like you let everybody know your business, you know, and then they end up telling you can't be mad at nobody but yourself. So then after he told her that, that's when I woke up, because I got all those text messages on my phone, and I woke up and I looked at my mama and she was brushing her teeth. She looked at me from the corner of her eye and she was like, then I was like, man, she know. I was like, she already know. So then I didn't say Mama, I'm pregnant yet. She was waiting on me to tell her. My boss had already told her. She knew, but she didn't want to just up and say you pregnant yet. So that same day, I was going to pick up my prom dress from downtown. I was going to pick up my prom dress, and as soon as we got in the car, we drove off. Okay, a little bit after that, like 5 minutes later, she was like, because me and my sister was in the car, and she was like, is one of y'all pregnant? I was like, You know, I gave her that look like, ooh, she talking about me. So I was like, she was like, y'all been doing the do? And I was like, no. Like, I wanted to tell her, but I felt like, nah, I can't do that. This is my mama. So as soon as she said that, she was like, she looked in the top mirror, in the rearview mirror. She looked in there and she looked at me, and she was like, Leah. I was like, ma'am. She was like, are you pregnant? I was like, who told you that? She was like, don't worry about who told me. She was like, are you pregnant? And you know, knowing me, I'm in shock right now. So I'm like, yes. I was like, yes, Mom, I am. Everybody in the car got quiet. So at this point, I'm just looking stupid. So I'm looking like, dang, like, I wanted to tell my mom myself. Who told her? So I'm real mad. Like, I'm angry at this point. So as soon as we got to the hotel to pick up my prom dress, I got out the car, I went in there, I did what I had to do, came back out, and yeah, that was my sister-in-law. But I went in there, came back out to get my prom dress, and then when I came back out, I was like the whole ride home was quiet. So, okay, at this point I'm like, I told my mama, but how I'm gonna tell my daddy? So after that, my mama knew. She didn't talk to me for about 2 days. I still did her Mother's Day thing. I still did that. But, you know, at that point, she knew she just worried about me being pregnant. So she wasn't upset at the fact that I was pregnant. She was more upset that I didn't get to her from myself. So I didn't want her to. I was gonna tell her, but my boss ended up telling her before I told her. So I ain't have no other choice but to just say, yeah, Mama, I'm pregnant. She was like, you couldn't tell me? I was like, Mama, I was finna tell you, but somebody ended up telling you before I told you. So at that point, she was like, how you gonna tell your daddy? And I was like, I'm gonna tell him, just not right now. You gotta give me some time. Alright, so I was like, at this point, I had went to go get my boyfriend, my baby daddy. I went to go get him, and we went to my house, and my daddy was at home, and he was like, I said, Dad, I need to tell you something. So then he had went and sat on the couch, and I'm looking stupid, of course. I'm looking stupid, and then he was like, okay, so what you gotta tell me? I had a feeling he already knew from my mama, but he wanted me to come and tell him. So I had went in there, and I was like, I got a baby. And I'm looking stupid. I'm looking real stupid. So he was like, who's gonna you tell me? And then he was like, so what you plan on doing? I was like, I'm gonna keep the baby. I'm not gonna get rid of my child. So he was like, okay, so he asked my baby daddy what he planned on doing, and he told him, and he was like, I got a good job, I got a good paying job, I'm gonna pay for everything, I'm gonna take care of it. And my dad was like, okay. So what the story is, basically, I was trying to tell my parents and I couldn't tell them because somebody had ended up telling them before I did. So it kind of hurt me because I was like, now my mama feel like I can't talk to her about nothing. And you're supposed to always come to your parents about anything that you have going on. Like, no matter if you're pregnant, no matter if you started doing something really bad, or you got into a wreck or anything, you always supposed to say, you always supposed to come to your parents, and you always supposed to tell them, because karma gonna come back. Now, my karma, it came back on me. One day, I was driving to Atlanta to get something done, and because at first I was planning on not keeping the baby, and so I was gonna have to go through a surgery for me not to keep the baby. So I was going to Atlanta. I drove all the way to Atlanta, and I was going to this building, and all I could think about was my baby at this point. I'm like, now it's about you, it ain't about me. So as soon as I got there, they was like, your name's not even in the system, because you know you gotta call and make an appointment. So they was like, your name's not even in the system. And I was like, it's not in the system, but I called. And so they was like, no ma'am, it's not in the system. So I had to drive all the way back to my hometown where I stayed, and I had to come back another day. I wasn't finna do that. So, but on my way there, I had recently got a ticket. I got a ticket for $700. And I'm not gonna tell y'all what it's for, but I mean, I was speeding in a construction zone, but that's all I'm gonna tell y'all. But I was speeding in the construction zone, and I wasn't paying attention. I was under pressure. I found out I was pregnant. I had to tell my parents and all. And I was basically driving under pressure. I got to arguing with my boyfriend, and it was just so much on me at that point. And I'm like, I'm 18 years old and I'm going through all this. So I was like, man, at that point I don't care. And I wasn't paying attention to my gas, so I was looking like, hey, you about to run out of gas, and hey, you going too fast. I wasn't paying attention. I was under pressure, and it was a lot going on for me. But I learned my lesson, and now I got a blessing. Hey, Kaylin, I'm finna show y'all the baby, so they don't think I'm playing. They laid out too. Where you at? Showing my son. I'll put some more in your face. But yeah, y'all, that's my story.